Croft,
Terry Croft, Genoa Township.
Hunt,
Robin Hunt, Genoa Township.
Lowe,
Diana Lowe, Genoa Township.
Mortensen,
Jim Mortensen, Genoa Township.
Scaleris, Genoa Township, Rogers,
Bill Rogers, Genoa Township Hall. Let us move on to, if everyone would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Move on to Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone would stand the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, for anyone that wishes to participate, if for via Zoom access by the computer or smartphone, a link will be posted at genoa.org. You could please email us at info@genoa.org or call 810-227-5225. So at this point, I will open up call to the public. In regard to this call to the public, typically it is for items not on the agenda. We are going to accommodate any calls on anything and also include in our regular agenda item number 7, that call to the public. So we're opening all of that now. We're going to keep that open through the whole meeting as we realize sometimes it is cumbersome to try to get into the system. So the call to the public is open. And if anyone wishes to reach out, once that occurs, we will acknowledge you and move forward from there.
Mr. Supervisor, we do have somebody from the public wishing to speak. Mr. William Galvin would like to have your audience, please. Go ahead, Mr. Galvin.
Hello, everybody. My name is Bill Galvin, 4037 Chilton Road. I just want to say thank you to the trustees and elected officials who have chosen community service. I understand and appreciate your commitment to Genoa Township. I have two brief comments this evening. First, I read through the budget and it appears that there's going to be a modification to the recycling service to a weekly service at an additional cost of $1 per month to the property taxes that we pay. I just want to say expanding it and improving our recycling services for $12 a year is a bargain. So good job and thank you for the expansion of that service. Second, I sent a letter to the board earlier today on a site plan proposal on Chilton Road that appears to me as essentially inconsistent with the zoning out there. My impression of the project from some research is that there's more to it than meets the eye on the site plan proposal back at, excuse me, on the planning commission. I'm concerned about what appears to be a lack of communication and a lack of engagement relative to a campus style vision plan that will be forthcoming out there. The project appears to be incremental growth plans. So they're only proposing one increment of that at this time. And future plans will change the economics of Chilton Road and will change the course of development in Genoa Township in a manner that could be quite different from what is intended by our master plan and other efforts that has been made over the past. So I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you again for your service. Thank you for accepting and reading my letter, and look forward to watching you and communicating with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your input. Anyone else, Mr. Manager?
We have nobody else at this time. If we get another call, I will break in.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to the consent agenda. That would be items 1 through 6.
Ledford moves approval.
Support for conversation, please. I would like to move item number 5 to the regular agenda, please.
Okay.
And Jean, is that? that's
That's fine with me.
So we have a motion for the consent agenda of 1 through 4 and 6. We will be moving number 5 to the regular agenda. Is there any objection? Hearing none, then we will pass by unanimous consent. Let us move on then to the regular agenda, which will now be number 5 and number 7.
Hunt, move approval.
Mortensen, support.
We have Hunt and Mortensen. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's move to number 5.
All right, number 5, I just requested this to the regular agenda, just for clarification. It didn't really spell it out. I know each agreement had opting in and opting out, and I just wanted to clarify that we are in fact opting in. And then also the wording on the agenda, if we could add that to the motion, that it's to opt in to handle school elections, I think just for future reference, and if we're searching it, 5 years down the road, we can find it.
This agreement is every 4 years, Polly?
Yes.
Okay.
And the agreement is put together not by us, it's by,
Right.
higher authorities, state and the counties.
But it's your intention to opt in to handle the elections, correct?
Of course.
Yeah.
Low moves approval.
Ledford seconds.
As amended,
As amended.
Yes.
Thank you.
a motion support as amended. We'll be opting in. Any further discussion? Are there any objections? Hearing none, motion passes by unanimous consent. Next item, this would be the review of the second draft of the 2021-2022 fiscal year budget for all funds related to township expenditures and revenues as previously discussed during the budget reviews. In this discussion only, I will point out that the final budget will be handled at the March 15th meeting. Is there a motion support to put this on the table for discussion?
So moved.
Is there support?
Ledford supports.
Any further discussion?
Come.
Are there any objections? Hearing none, it passes by unanimous consent, and we are open for discussion regarding the budget. Polly, if you want to introduce the budget.
Okay, you have many funds that have to do with township revenue and expenditures. A lot that you see in the general fund is pretty much the same as previous years with a small increase. We're looking at revenue of approximately $5 million. And on the expenditure side, we discussed in previous meetings a 2% salary increase for all township employees. And the other item that we have on the budget that we will need further discussion about has to do with refuse collection and disposal, whether or not we're going to be looking at a weekly collection of recycling goods. Right now, the figures that you have on here are related to not having the second week of recycling. We're still working with every other week, and we're looking at an $8 increase. And I believe that Mike would like to make comment about the General Fund 101 with regard to refuse. Mike?
You're muted, Mike.
Mike,
You're muted.
There you go.
Is that better or not?
Well,
Okay, I thought I was
Mike, we'll go with yes.
So,
just like around the house.
that's right. I wish I had one of those, but, so by copy, I let you folks know what was going on. So with Amazon and COVID-19, if it's like my household, the amount of cardboard generated has become dramatically different than it was even 3 years ago when we started this contract. So you'll recall last May, we started putting recycling dumpsters for cardboard only at the township hall. We started out with 1 8-yarder that turned into 2 8-yarders once a week. That turned into 3 times a week. That turned into 4 8-yarders. And eventually by December, we were into 2 20-yard roll-off boxes and 4 8-yarders getting picked up multiple times a week. The cost in December was about $1,500. You saw the WHMI article and the pictures. It became a disaster. There were people from outside the township, as evidenced by Amazon addresses, that were dumping their stuff here. It was all contaminated. Somebody gets a large screen TV, they dump the box, they don't break it down, they don't take out the styrofoam or the plastic. So we stopped accepting that material shortly after the holidays. And as you saw by copy, it created quite a stir. So I asked Advanced for numbers for the weekly recycle. And that's before you this evening. I just want to point out, with 7,000 customers with weekly pickup of garbage and bi-weekly pickup of recycling currently, that is about 550,000 customer interactions per year. So out of all the things we do here, garbage touches everybody the closest. And what you witnessed was simply one issue related to one snapshot in time with one issue. Every time it snows, a truck can't get down a hill. There's a holiday, somebody gets missed, a new driver doesn't know where ABC Drive is and misses somebody. It's a big deal. This is what spends a lot of our staff time. So when we ask for the recycling consideration every week, first of all, there's a benefit that people don't have to remember which week is theirs. Your hardcore recyclers are going to be very happy because now they don't have to store the cardboard. I think generally people are going to think we're doing the environmental stewardship thing, but it's really a policy decision for you folks to make. I tried not to make too much of a sob story in the email and the memo I wrote to you, but I really can't help myself because it is a difficult thing to administer. We're the only township, I think there's one other one in the county that does township-wide recycling and refuse collection. Everybody else, it's the Wild West. You get whatever hauler you want, so you have multiple trucks going down streets on multiple days. So there is a real public benefit to what we do because you keep overloaded garbage trucks off of our subdivision roads. It's tidy. It's 1 day a week. It's dramatically cheaper than what people in surrounding townships pay because we bid as a unified contract. But it is a significant, and I can't understate that, is a significant amount of staff time goes into this. So going to the weekly recycle would make my life easier. But it's up to you to decide whether there is a policy decision that makes it a good policy decision to increase everybody paying for what maybe not everyone would use. That said, I will answer any questions you might have regarding this matter.
Mike, could you talk about the polling that we want to do across the township?
Well, I would like you to pass this as is. If there's some consternation or disagreement, or you'd like further research, we talked today in the office. We do have the ability to do a survey. If you look at the statistics, 74% of the households in Genoa Township have no children. So if you're an empty nester, My household has anywhere between 3 and 6 people, depending on who's coming back from college that week. But I have a hard time understanding how empty nesters would fill up a 64-gallon cardboard recycling bin every 2 weeks. But if you buy appliances or it's the holidays, that comes with a lot of cardboard. So maybe they want it. But we do have the ability to do a survey. Giffords Webster has given us an estimate of $1,500. They would do a survey. They would do a poll. It would be unique. So in other words, somebody who was really an ardent recycle supporter couldn't drive up the numbers. It would be linked to GIS, 1 vote per tax code. So it would give you a good picture as to where your support may or may not lie in regard to this matter.
I guess the only thing I'd like to add when considering this, the amount that the residents pay is levied on their winter tax bill. Their most recent tax bill that went out December 1st of 2020 covers garbage pickup through November 30th of 21. So if we decide to go forward with this, which I am actually in favor of, the township will have to cover that gap until next year, and then we can determine to increase the levy on next year's winter tax bill and then reduce that gap again, but we won't get that until next December. But
right, so
personally,
the contract with Advanced is a September start, and we're obviously on an April 1st fiscal year, so it's not linked that way, so there is a delay. $12 a year was simply grabbing a number out of the air. The true cost is described in the memo is more than that. The general fund has subsidized refuse and recycling forever around here. And if we do increase, I never like to propose an increase that's really puts stress on the family budget. If you want to make changes, we should do so gradually and glide into wherever we want to get. But at $12 a year increase, it's $1 a month. I always think about, what do I pay for cable TV a month? And this is a service that has a dramatic impact on our folks. But it is a policy decision for you, and you have to see value in it to say yes.
For the newer residents to the township, they realize what a bargain this is. I mean, if you were to go out and contract this service out on your own, it's
Right.
going to cost you a lot more than what people are currently paying at $145. So
Agreed.
We would be adding about $170,000 to our expenditures on the refuse by going forward with a weekly collection.
Mike, didn't you say like 120 earlier? Wasn't that the number?
That was minus the 21,000 or some 27,000 that we already subsidized.
Yeah, if you look at the second page of my memo, so
Gotcha.
the true cost would be $181 per parcel per year. With a $12 increase to the $145 we currently charge our residents on a winter tax bill, you're looking at a total of $157, leaving a gap of $24. $24 times 7,071, which is our current residential count, as Polly mentioned, is right around 170,000, 169,704.
Gotcha.
Similarly, and you can do the math yourself, if you increase it $2 a month, then it's not as big a gap. But $12 increase, I don't think it's going to really affect anybody's pocketbook in the short term, and it could let you glide in. So maybe next year you look at a more marginal increase. That was just my recommendation.
Any other
Is there
trustees?
a risk that we're going to open this up to outsiders and residents are going to take other people's garbage? I mean, I don't know.
What?
This wouldn't
Or
change the garbage.
recycle materials. I mean, that's,
Even at every week, it's not a huge amount.
Yeah.
It's still one cart.
Well, I mean, theoretically, if somebody has a brother-in-law that bought a refrigerator and needs to get rid of cardboard, they live outside of Genoa and want to bring it in, they are limited to the 64 gallons. So, and they don't take things outside the 64 with the automated pickup. So I guess there is some risk of that, but I don't think it's great. It's going to be a lot better than it was when we had these dumpsters up here, unsupervised.
Well,
Yeah,
I guess,
I'd like to see this Giffords Webster do the survey in our township and see how many residents want to pay that additional funds. It's a lot. It's not just $1 a month. It's like $2.50 or something like that a month, $2.43 additional for each resident. And I mean, I'm sitting on the township board. I don't fill up one of those recycle bins every week, every 2 weeks.
We don't either.
But I'd like to see what our residents have to say.
Mike, was Kelly able to get a cost for from Giffords Webster, and if this is something they can do?
It's going to be right around $1,700.
And we can
Which is
always
it.
amend our agenda sometime in the future when we get all the numbers together.
well, what would be the question we ask people?
Would you be willing to pay? I guess you could.
$24, be about
Yeah.
$24 a year.
Well, you could make it, I guess you could ask multiple questions like, would you be willing to pay $1 a month extra for every week recycled? Would you be willing to pay $2.43 and find out where you fall, I guess?
I think the bigger question is more of, do you feel you need once a week recycling?
Mhm.
And do you
Or-
recycle at all?
Yeah. Right.
Some don't.
Yeah, I would start off with, do you need it or not? If you do need it, would you be agreeable to X amount of dollars? Because they're going to want to know how much it's going to cost.
Are they skilled market researchers?
Yes, they have the resources. They just did our master plan that included quite a bit of market survey data.
How long, does anyone know how long a survey is typically kept open? I hate to delay this too much. I mean, I personally agree with Mike. I mean, this is a service that touches every one of our residents. I think this is something the residents want. I mean, I'm willing to do the survey if that's what the board agrees upon. I hate to delay it too much, though.
I think we could have it turned around by the time you do your final budget consideration on March 15th.
Okay.
Just one caveat, even though I am asking you to consider this in the positive, I would not be surprised if the data gets skewed towards the pro recycle people, because what happened with the dumpsters up here, somebody put my email address out on Nextdoor, and before you know it, I was inundated by a segment of our population. And I think you're going to see the same thing. So you can go ahead and do a survey and ask. And with social media, the people who are in favor are probably going to contact all their friends who are also in favor. So you're probably going to see numbers skewed that way, even though I wanted to.
Well, that's why I asked about skilled market researcher. A skilled market researcher wouldn't let that happen. Or I'll try to avoid that. That's what, I mean, I think a lot of Guilfords or whatever the name is, but I do not see them as skilled market researchers. A survey is one thing. A market research is something else, really something else.
Well, we're strictly talking doing a survey.
Yeah, and that, I don't know that, I don't know what that gets you. I guess I'm on this side. This has been so controversial. Yeah, $170,000 is a lot of money. We got a lot of money. It's a nice service for, makes a big problem go away, and I'm ready to move ahead. I don't need a survey or market research.
I agree with Jim. I think it's time
Yeah.
for us to go ahead. We sort of know what they want out there. We've been hearing from them. Not every single one of them, of course, but the majority of the people said, do it.
Okay, we'd have to amend our budget to the next meeting to bring up another 170,000. None of that money, according to Robin, would be come back into the general fund this year. So we would be completely paying for that out of the general fund with no reimbursement. And are we still looking at an $8 increase to our residents for refuse and collection and disposal? Or are we looking at a higher number? Because those numbers have to be incorporated into the budget for March.
If you read Mike's memo, it's $12 is what he was recommending.
$12.
So for the
Per
2021
year.
winter tax bill, it would go from $145 to $157,
Yes.
correct?
But that would not cover this year. So that would set us behind a lot.
Well, we've always subsidized for garbage pickup. So yes, it would increase our subsidy this year drastically.
I guess I like to have the input of the people in our community that don't want it. I mean, we're going to now be charging everybody additional money for maybe 70% of the people don't need it. So it's like taxation without representation. Nobody's able to put in their 2 cents now except those people who want recycling every week. And we don't
Where
know
did
the
you
rest of this community.
Now-
We're not representation. We're the representation sitting here at this table or on this computer.
Right. The residents elected us to make these decisions and work
Right.
through the budget process for them.
Right.
So it would be impossible for people to opt out of recycling? Would that be
Correct.
too complicated?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
just asking.
It's all or nothing.
Okay, thank you.
We don't have an agenda item to vote on this kind of a thing, but we're looking for some sort of consensus to put on the agenda for the next meeting through this discussion.
Well, as you know, I'm in favor of putting it on the next agenda to move it back to every week and to look at increasing at $12 on the 2021 winter tax.
Comments regarding that? Questions?
Is $12 actually the magic number, or do we want to look at something a little different than that, considering that it's more closer to $26 a year for each home within our township? Maybe we should be looking at 160. That would reduce at least the following year the amount of money that we'd have to subsidize.
Well, let's look at the budget in a different way. The trash pickup is going to be increased yearly anyway. Each year it has to go up by, I don't know what percentage, but it is an increase every year.
Correct.
So why don't we keep it at 12?
I'm
If
looking
that
back,
doesn't,
yes.
if that doesn't work, we can change it the following year. But not only are they going to get hit with our increase, but getting hit with the trash collector increase.
Well, the increases are written in the contract, right?
Through
Correct.
2023, correct.
Yep.
We already know how much that's going to increase on the contract.
Well, maybe the people out there don't know it.
True.
They don't know that, they don't know the dollar amount. They know there might be an increase, but they won't know by how much. So sticking to $12, I think, would be safe for everyone. And if we run short the following year, we can increase it a little bit more. That's how I feel.
Yeah, agreed.
Good.
Well, aren't we talking what the resident is going to see if we did nothing? He's going to see an increase. I forget the absolute number. And if we do this, he's going up $12 a year. I mean, that's not that much money.
No, but the actual cost is going to go up closer to $28 per home per year. And we're increasing at $4. The $8 increase that we had just kind of took it into place, reducing the amount the general fund was subsidizing and taking some of the additional cost from the last fiscal year into the next fiscal year. So we were not even breaking even. We were still, you know, a lot of money short. Now this next fiscal year, we're going to be 170,000 short, just this one year. And then who knows what, 180,000 short the next year. And you're
I don't
only
think-
$12.
I
Of all
personally
things
don't
that are in
think,
of all the things that are in a $5 million budget, I mean, if you step back and think about it, it's kind of peanuts, except it's a big issue. It's in the scheme of things, it's peanuts money trying to solve a big issue. And that's the way I look at it.
You had a
Well,
comment?
in a $5 million budget, $1,185,000 is going to refuse, and that's based on the numbers that we have in place right now,
Yep.
not adding another 180,000. So we're looking at going from $1,185,000 to $1,400,000, or yeah, $1,400,000.
Well, let's not forget that we have a lot of people that are unemployed. And maybe $1 million doesn't look like a lot to us, but a hefty increase in trash collection might mean quite a bit to them.
I mean, how many people on this board really want to see recycling every week? Are we doing it because we have, you know, 100 people who want it, or 9,000 do not? I don't know the numbers. I just don't know the numbers. Seems like we need to ask.
How quick could we get survey results back, Mike? Can we put a time limit on it, like 2 weeks or?
I would try our hardest to get it back to you before you deliberate on the final budget approval in the middle of March. But again, and this helps me because I'm asking you to consider this in the positive, but I think you're going to find that the numbers will be skewed because the average person, I mean, I wouldn't take the time to respond to this. I got other things to do. I don't care. My garbage goes in the garbage can, it goes away. Life's great. You're talking about a small group of people that are getting motivated. And I understand Jim's question. You know, I had statistics in school too, and I understand how that works. But just opening this up and having people voluntarily come in on a survey monkey, it's going to be pro recycle every week.
I agree with that.
I agree.
So you can
They're
ask the
just-
question. You can
When
ask
we
the
just-
question, but
When we discussed this morning, I thought you said they were point on, they were going to go to each home in our township. When we talked about this morning. Give
No.
us what there.
you think they're going to knock on a door in COVID? No, I never said that.
No, we talked about making sure it went to a Sidwell number per se. It was supposed to be a household specific, not knocking on doors though.
No.
That part was true. At least that's the way I understood it also.
If we send out cards to each home in the township, which would be $7,000, which will cost us about $3,000 in postage. And we have the card that you can just turn over and you can drop it back to the township and pay another $3,000 to get it back, provided we get it back, which we can do when we do it for elections. You only pay for what comes back. That would be a good measure of what our community thinks and whether they want to pay additional money.
I guess my concern there would be is if only those people favoring one side or the other returned, if there were a 80% non-returned, what are you going to count those at? And then you're still talking a sampling of only 20.
We lost you, Bill.
Not reflective of the overall constituency.
Could you repeat all that? Because we lost you.
Probably not. Maybe I can get a video replay.
I heard it all.
I heard it all.
I didn't.
I guess, Mike, the question for you, as far as Giffel Webster, this is an online survey for $2,000, correct? This isn't postcards.
I believe, and Kelly was working on this more than I, it was going to be and postage. I should have said that.
Okay.
Like Polly mentioned, there was going to be a card going out prompting them to do the survey. And I just want to make some kind of soapbox comment here. And, you know, I've been doing this stuff a long time. This is a representative democracy. It's not, you people are put there to make your best calls based on your information. The voters have put you there to do that. To do a survey on policy questions like this, I think leads you down a slippery slope.
I agree.
I lost him again.
It's great to find out what our people want, but you folks are elected to make these decisions.
Well, it's Robin who gets all the complaints when they come to pay taxes, they don't want to pay. They think it's too much. She's been complaining about that for years.
Oh, no one's ever happy about paying taxes, so.
And actually, though we don't have the numbers in front of us, staff has utilized a ton of time with complaints in regard to whether it be recycling or just garbage pickup or anything in general along that line has been consumed by a lot of man hours in the office. And a phone call isn't just a 30-second phone call, folks.
Right.
Our staff is talking ad nauseum with what is going on, and especially granted with the cardboard. And we one thing I give you all credit for, we tried. You saw the pictures of what happened with the dumpsters out there. It's embarrassing that
Yeah.
we had folks abuse that to that degree, and we're still having this conversation.
If you feel like you need more research, I have a thought. I mean, and it's not to get our consultant. I'll bet you Waste Management can tell you by household size and age who generates garbage or recycled materials.
Recycle.
And I'm envisioning, well, they can tell you that households with 2 people, certain income level or whatever, generate this much recycling. Maybe they can tell you. And maybe we could extrapolate from that how much there is. See if they have some information rather than going doing the research. I mean, I'll bet you they studied the hell out of it. Maybe not, I don't know. But
I personally believe in a perfect world that individuals that don't want to recycle should opt out. And then not have to pay for it. But unfortunately,
Nice.
we do not have a system
Right.
that is easily set up and utilized to accommodate that. Hence why the manager has put forth, at least for right now, is this $12 dollar per month. And all of you, again, have said throughout this whole thing, as I've heard it, is that we'll be picking up a bigger tab through this year. And then finally, we will be able to recoup some of it. That's kind of where we stand right this second.
well, and as I said before, I'm prepared to go ahead. But I sense from my compatriots that some of them are a lot less enthused.
Hey, Bill, you just made an interesting comment. If there was a way for them to not have to pay on their tax bill for recycling. Right now, we're providing a refuse can and a recycling can. So if those people that did not want to recycle in our community relinquish their recycling container, maybe there is some way that we could adjust that so that they wouldn't have to pay it off for recycling.
There is absolutely no way we could track that. With when a house sells and changes owners, we can't be prorating for months for some people and different amounts for other people. The reason they're getting it so cheap is because we can do it township wide, period.
Well, and you're paying for the truck to drive by. I mean, that's the real cost. You have your tipping fees based on volume, but the real is the manpower in the truck driving in front of every single home. If you start letting people voluntarily exclude themselves from that service, your prices for those who participate are going to have to go through the roof.
Yep.
Well, and so should it. The people who want recycling should pay for it.
If these were individual contracts, say we didn't have a township-wide agreement, would they, and they had individual agreements with Waste Management, would they be able to opt out of recycling then?
Sure.
On their own.
Okay, no, I was just curious.
I don't even know if that would be considered opt-out. They just wouldn't order the recycling component, correct?
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, to bring this to some kind of closure.
Go ahead, Mike.
I said to bring this to some kind of closure. I'm hearing mixed reactions. One thing I can work on before next time is to find out some statistics from Waste Management / Advanced Disposal about what kind of recycle generation we expect from a home based on the number of persons in the home. I'd be happy to do that and come back to you with that information next time.
I'm also, from what I thought I heard also, in the event that this stuff doesn't come into play, we can't come up with that solution, as I would have a resolution ready for the $12 increase. It seemed like there were a few people still interested in that. And then you put that other option out there, and they can make a better decision.
Could you clarify that for me, Bill? I'm not sure I followed where you were going with that.
You're going to put together those numbers, hopefully from Waste Management in regard to who recycles, or what percentage they think. I'm just saying also have something ready in a resolution form also for that $12 in the case that somebody wants to bring that to the table, so we can get this thing rectified next meeting. I don't want this thing to go on through past the budget time frame. At least that's my personal preference and bias. I think we need to get this thing done before we finalize our budget.
Okay.
That brings to mind something else. If we say go, when can Waste Management start?
Almost immediately. Waste
Okay.
Management, we're expecting some operational issues anytime there's a takeover, but one positive note is they do have a lot of resources at their disposal. No pun intended.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
bad.
Going back to the general fund budget, some of the biggest items is on the third page, has to do with transfers to future road improvements of $900,000 and transfer to future development parks and recreation of $750,000. That's up $200,000 from this fiscal year. And transfer to building and grounds, fund number 271 of $50,000, so that we're building some money up for taking care of the buildings within the township that we do have. The next budget that you have is 212, which
Just a minute, Polly.
Okay.
On the fund 284,703,000 salaries. I assume those are staff salaries. Is
Let
that
me go back. Let me go
that
back.
looks like more than a 2% increase, a little bit more. Is the intention to be a 2% increase, sir?
For salaries,
Yes.
Supposed to be 2%
well,
across the board.
380 and 380 is about 10%. I mean, about a $10,000 increase.
The intent is a 2% raise there.
Yes.
Okay, that's the intent. All right.
Are you wanting to change that or?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. All right.
Okay. The next fund is 212, which is liquor law. And pretty much those numbers are the standard every year for eternity. Fund 261 is future development roads. So you have the projects that Mike put together. Mike, did you want to go over those again one more time?
Yeah, so based on our, small budget sessions we had with groups, if anything, we pushed it a little bit more forward in 2 years. A lot of the road projects are restricted by the amount of money that the county will budget to match us every year. So there's the pavement management program. It's generally been about 250 to 300,000 per year that they're willing to match. And I keep trying to push that number up to see where they say no. So for next year, the big ones would be Bauer and Chalice, all the way down to Riverbend, which is the first entrance into Pine Creek, and up around to Door Road. So we did a little bit of a patch repair on the curve at the top of the hill last year when we did Door Road, but it really needs to be done. It's in really bad shape. So that matches and taps out basically our match from the county with their pavement management program. The other ones, I talked to the road commission a little bit. The other ones are really kind of new, smaller projects. We're hoping to get Kellogg Road done at Portland Condominiums. Right now, they have two driveways, one on Grand River and one off of Kellogg Road. The one off of Kellogg Road is served by a dirt section. So you have the approach coming off of Grand River, and then it turns into dirt as you move north. So it causes a lot of dust problems for a relatively high density residential area. And it also focuses all their travel, all their turning movements come out onto Grand River because nobody wants to get their car dirty when they can just go through the development and come out onto Grand River. So I think you'd make a lot of people happy with that one. Similarly, Hubert Road, right by the Salvation Army. There's Rink Simon Mahinsky right there on Grand Beach Lake. That road was paved with the identical situation I just described in Cortland, and it's probably 15, 16 years old and just needs to be replaced. We're also looking at doing a decel lane at the park entrance here. In your mind's eye, as you're coming northbound on Door Road and you clear the tracks, hopefully nobody's trying to make a left turn off of Crooked Lake to go northbound Door, because that's a real problem with sight distance. This would provide a taper south of our existing entrance that would provide at least a means of refuge for somebody who's going too fast on northbound Door as that turning movement occurs. So that's about it. It's a very, I think, aggressive. Like Polly mentioned, we're looking to increase our general fund contribution to the road fund up to about 900,000 the first couple of years, and we're hoping to push that up to $1 million. We do have the nice benefit of having a fully funded revolving fund that ate up a lot of our general fund over the past years because we had to put seed money into that so we could handle all the SADs, but now that's flush with cash and can handle cash flow needs in the immediate future and in the foreseeable future. So that allows us to get more aggressive on some of the road projects we've talked about, not only the pavement management programs, which kind of keeps our pavement in decent condition, but some of the bigger stuff too, like Crooked Lake Road, like the Chalice Bauer roundabout that we've talked about. The other significant things we're looking at doing parks and paths. We're looking at an acquisition grant with a match from the DNR Trust Fund to hopefully acquire some more property, park path replacement. The Senior Survivor Project, I sent you an email describing that. Very exciting project. The school folks and the kids are just really excited to work with us on that. I think going forward, that'll be something that makes the township look great, be a great community asset. And the kids can kind of put their thumbprint on the project. Each class would raise money and then build a phase of a project or an element. That'll be something we're going to be really proud of moving forward. We get into in out years some of the path replacements, especially some of the older asphalt that is, a lot of cases 20 years old or more. Polly, I think Brighton Road probably happened in 1999. So that pavement section is 21 years old. The boardwalks are old. The wood trees have fallen on it. The asphalt's getting thermal cracking in it. It really needs to be replaced. We're always, again, talking about going to concrete, getting rid of the asphalt for improved maintenance. And then we've got some things in 271 buildings and grounds. The HVAC needs to be replaced. We got a number of 60,000 for that. Again, everything's 20 some years old. It's getting difficult to find replacement parts. We're looking at doing some window replacements probably in phases, and that's about it. Nothing new that we haven't talked about, maybe moving a few things up further because we have the means to do so.
Yeah, the other township fund that Mike kind of passed over really quick was Fund 264, and that's our revolving fund where we finance road projects. We advance the funds out of this fund, and at the end of this year, we're looking at $2.5 million balance, and at the end of next year, unless we get some project coming in, we're looking at 2 million. Well, probably about the same thing, $2.5 million. So we'll be able to support any road projects within the township. And through this revolving fund, all the money that has been put in it over the years, which is multi-millions of dollars, is now coming back to us as all of those accounts are closing out. That's all I have.
Comments? Questions? Very quiet. Has there been anyone from the public trying to reach us?
No, sir.
All righty. This is a discussion item only. So we will proceed with what we've gathered here. And as the ultimate goal is to have everything done by the March 15th final. The next board meeting or so, we will address this refuse. Unless I hear any objection there. And hearing none, I guess we shall move on to correspondence.
I did not see any correspondence.
No, we have none.
Okay, unless you want to count at the last second, Mr. Galvin's letter, but as I said, that should be accessible to all of you. Even though it was,
Got it.
submitted for this agenda.
Yes.
Let's move on to then a member discussion. Does anyone care to opine?
Oh, I got one question for Mike. About Keller Williams with their advertising with our logo.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
did you look into that?
I
No.
did not see it as much of an issue, to be honest with you.
Okay.
They are using our logo. It's a tasteful application for somebody trying to market properties in our community. So unless the board feels otherwise, I didn't feel like that was a big deal to me, but I
Okay.
could be wrong.
Well, I guess as long as it's tasteful, I wouldn't raise a flag. If somebody starts using it distastefully, then we'll have to start cleaning up our act around town. But for the moment, I just let it ride.
Jim, I'm still remembering what you called that logo all those years ago when we first got it. Do you remember?
Yeah, we don't need to go through that again.
Oh, now you've got me curious.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem with it.
This is a public meeting.
Anyone else?
Bring the kids out to the sled hill. It has been a great year for the sled hill, probably the best I can remember. We've had sustained temperatures and the right kind of snow, and man, it's fast. I mean, the kids are setting records out there, so it's been a lot of fun to watch. And we do have it lit, so families out there that might watch this or hear by reading minutes, yeah, something to do in the wintertime during COVID.
It has achieved great attendance from early in the morning till the evening when it's going on after hours. I will point out, I was envious. I saw the inner tube. Somebody had an inner tube. Oh, that looked like a blast. That was as we were leaving. Anyways, I just thought I'd point out something. I just received an email late in the afternoon. This credit union branch right at the edge here of Door Road and Grand River just announced that they are closing that branch, just an FYI. So if you see that or get any calls, yes, we did receive something from the credit union stating that that branch will be closed February, I want to say either
12th.
12th or 22nd. 12th?
12.
Yeah, I knew I had a 2 in there. I didn't know if I had the other one.
Yeah.
So anyways, unfortunately, another building that hopefully we can have filled up sooner than later. Anything else?
Nope.
And I guess a motion for adjournment is in order.
Mortensen, so move.
low support.
Any objections? Then it passes by unanimous consent.